Hello everybody, my name is CulBlu. I'm bringing out this video of me reviewing a board game, and today I'm going to be doing a review here of Silent Victory, U.S. Submarines in Pacific, 1941 through 1945. Woo! Okay, alright, so this is going to be an interesting one because I don't think I'm going to do a full teach of this one. I think I'm just going to defer everybody over to my playthrough video. So if you want to see how this game flows and how it works and stuff, actually, no, you know what? I take it back. It's blasphemy. I'm going to do a teach. Alright, let me get our background music started though, because you know I love my background music here. Right, there we go. And we got that running. And let's go ahead and get started here. So as far as this game goes, this game, Silent Victory, is a game where you are essentially controlling, a crew in the Pacific on the U.S. Army side, U.S. military side, and you are trying to essentially take out the enemy, take out as many of them as you can, because our goal in this one is for us to, disrupt shipping and cause problems and sink ships and all this stuff without being taken out yourself, because there are people out there who are fighting back. They are going to fight back and they are going to hurt. So you got to be prepared to not die. So our entire goal, like I said, is going to be to kind of take our ship, go on different patrols, and then try to sink as many enemies as we can before we get back, and then go on another patrol. There are opportunities for upgrading. There are opportunities for getting higher ranks. There are opportunities for getting better ships. And there's just a whole slew of things. This game has like a lot to offer with how it goes down. But the main thing is that you're going to be going on patrols, rolling dice, and then trying to figure out, okay, am I going to attack? Am I going to be attacked? Where am I going? How am I going to try to approach this? And you have to make decisions like, how many torpedoes am I shooting? Am I going to encounter it to begin with? All that fun stuff. So let's go and get into our teach. I'm going to follow the same format that I normally follow. I was kind of waffling on this earlier, but I'll follow the same format where I'll talk about, I'll do a teach here of the game, and then I'll play through like a round, one patrol maybe. One patrol lasts a little bit of time, so it depends on what happens. And then afterwards, I'll get into my review, talking about things that I like, things I didn't like, and then give my review from there. So we're gonna do something different. We're gonna start off with a different ship, which I know, it's crazy, actually, let's start with the, ooh, this one's fun. No, I haven't used any of these other ships. I've only used one ship, been faithful. But we're gonna go ahead and try to use this, this Gato class submarine, and we're gonna jump into the game here. So first things first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna need to do setup. So for setup, I'm not gonna do full setup, but I will use a sheet here. So let me go ahead and tear a sheet out from our mini sheets here. Actually, can I just use the back of this one? Yeah, I'll use the back of this one, because we are doing, yeah, we're gonna keep that one. So we're doing a start that's actually different from that. We're starting in 42 April. Oh, perfect. That's actually perfect. Okay, so there's a few pieces of information to kind of get from the sheet. This is going to be one of your main player sheets, your display sheet. It's going to have a lot of information that you'll track, and you can actually play most of the game from here, well, at least half of the game from here. But we're going to go ahead and punch in so we can see a little bit more closely what's going on. So if we look at the ship here, or look at this sheet here, we have at the top, we have a title, we have the name of the ship, we have the year it's available from. So this goes from December 1941 all the way to I don't know what the oldest ship is or the newer ships are, but in this case, if I'm playing with this submarine, then I have to make sure that I start on this day or later. So in that particular case, if you look at our sheet here, I do have some information here from previous attempted playthrough. Clearly I failed, but for here, you'll notice that starts at December 1941. That's kind of the earliest you can start the game, but we're going to be starting our game here at April 1942, mostly because that's the earliest that we could start with this submarine, because the submarine wasn't available until April 1942. So we're just going to pretend the rest of this doesn't exist. We're just going to ignore it. Let's put a little X through here, scribble it out, and we are starting here. So we'll return to that sheet in a second. We are going to name our submarine the same thing. We're going to name it Acornium. We're going to have our captains, me, Captain CulBlu, so I got my name written there. So that's our log sheets, and that is that part set up. Next, we're going to need to kind of fit our ship with all the things. So knowing that is the time period that we're in, we're going to get 24 MK14s. MK14s are a type of torpedo that we're going to have access to, and we're going to stock up accordingly. So here's my little game Genic. Here's my little cube for me token display tray that I use to kind of keep things organized and nice and stuff. I'm not sponsored by them, I promise, but if they do want to sponsor me, hey, cube for me, reach out to me. But going back into here though, I'm just using it to kind of keep track of my stuff and make it a little bit easier to grab all the bits and pieces. So it's going to be 1 torpedo per tube and then 10 in my reserves here. Almost there, just 2 more. Okay, and then for my aft side, or my rear, I don't know if this is actually rear, it might be side, I don't know. But we're gonna put in 1 in each tube. And then we're gonna load 4 here. There we go. And then we're also going to put our guns. So we're going to have a 5-inch gun. Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, sure, I'll take it. I'll take a 5-inch gun. And that 5-inch gun is going to have 5 ammo. And then we're going to have 2 AA guns. I think those aren't 50 cal. Oh, what are those supposed to be? Do I get to choose? Huh, I don't even know how that works. I think I get to choose. Oh. Oh wait, am I supposed to have 2? No, that's my gun status. Again, I haven't used a submarine, so I don't know if that means that I get to put another gun here. But I'm just gonna leave that one blank for now. I'll let future me determine that. As far as my AA guns, I had to choose between a few different ones. I'm gonna choose a 20 mil and a 40 millimeter. Sorry, 20 millimeter and 40 millimeter. It doesn't say which one, so I'm just gonna assume that I can choose whichever one I want. And I'm gonna choose those, because those ones are better. Apparently, according to the dice roll modifiers, those are better. Okay, so that's my my ship set up there. I'm gonna put my captain information up top, because I have a rank. My starting rank is going to be Lieutenant Commander. Right there. And then I have no awards. My crew quality is going to be trained. They can get better over time. And then I also need to, scrolling down. Oh, wait, no, scroll back up. I also need to put my hull and flooding for damage trackers. And then down here, I need to figure out which port I'm going to start in. I want to choose to start in the Australian port. Change it up a little bit. And then I got to get my ship, which is over here. What am I, Gato? There we go. All right, so that's all settled. So I'm just putting all these away. Okay, so that's set. So now we have our submarine is set. So I'm going to zoom back out to our main view and put that here. We'll punch in so we can get a little bit better view of stuff as we go. But for right now, just know that I'm keeping it there. Oh man, I don't have another sheet. Oh shoot. Shucks. I mean, I can just use one of these. Yeah, I'll use one of these. Didn't I die on this one? No, this one's empty. Okay. It's my dead one. Yeah, we'll use this. That's distracting. Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Let me try to find my other sheet where my ship exploded. I have had a playthrough of my submarine exploded. It was great. But then, I mean, it was very sad. Sad. All right, we'll use this side. We'll just use the other side of this one, and I'll just print out more later. Okay. All right, continuing on. So we have here a few different sheets. I mentioned before that this is our sheet that we're going to be marking our stuff down in. So we're going to be starting in April. I'll put a little underline here. We're starting in, oh, that's not May. I said April, but I underlined May. We're starting in April 1942. So we're going to be starting there. Now, in order for us to figure out where we're going, because we got our ship all set, we've already established that we're going to be in Australia, so we're going to go ahead and bring out our tables. Now, this game has a number of different lookup tables that we're going to be utilizing throughout the course of the game. It also has this little map here. I do want to take a moment to talk about the map here for those who might want to use it instead of doing what I'm doing. But as far as the map is concerned, this map here is going to be a map of the South Pacific. It's going to show Australia patrols, and it's going to be a different base. There's 2 different sides, so you can choose whichever sides if you want to get your flavor different. So there's a base over here in Fremantle. Fremantle. I don't know how you pronounce that. But the port starts here, goes to transit, and then it goes out to everything else. If you go into the other side, the port is based on the other side of Australia. It's in Brisbane, and you start here, port, transit, and all the other stuff. Now, the reason why I'm pointing this out is because if we look at the bottom of all of the submarine sheets, you'll see down here, we use the Philippines as an example. You'll see here that the Philippines goes to transit, then transit. Sorry, let me demonstrate this better. Throughout the course of the game, we're going to be traveling through these different boxes to show, or using our little marker to show where we're moving. And you can use it either on here, on your actual player sheet, or on the map. So if I go over here, starting here in the port, if I'm in the port and I want to go through the Philippines, and I would go from the port to transit, and then from transit to transit, and then from this transit over to the Philippines, and then I'm in Philippines M right there. And then my next one, I'll go to Philippine, and then Philippines X2 right there, and then Philippine, and then I'll travel back to transit, back home to transit, and then I'll travel back home to transit, and then I'll go back to the port. But I'm mostly showing that just to show you that this is the equivalent. I'm just going to use this because it's a little bit cleaner and easier to show on screen. So transit, then Philippine mission, then Philippine X2, Philippine, transit, so on and so forth. So just want to let you know, you can use either one, but I'm just going to use the easier going sheet there. Okay, glad we got that established. So that's going to be our sheet here. In order for us to figure out where we're going to be sent, we got to figure out what patrol we're going to go into. We're starting in here, so we need to figure out our patrol assignment. There you go. It's going to be one of the first mini lookup charts. First of many lookup charts that we'll be looking at. So for here, we need to roll 2d6s to figure out where we're being sent. So we're going to take our 2d6s, and I'm going to roll those here in my little dice tray. And we rolled a 4. Now with the roll of a 4, we're going to go into our year. We're in April of 1942. So we are here. In April of 1942, a 4 is going to take us to Midway. Oh, no, I lied. We're on the wrong chart. This is Pearl Harbor. We are not in Pearl Harbor. We're in Australia. Wrong table. It was a 50-50, of course. And I chose wrong. There we go. So 4 is going to be Philippines T. Oh man, we're going to have a mission? I don't want a mission. Ugh, gosh. So you have to pay attention to this because sometimes your locations you get sent to will have a letter at the end. And that letter down here is going to tell you what it does. This one's going to be just a transport mission, so it's not the biggest pain. But a transport mission means that we're going to have somebody on our boat. We're going to have a passenger on our boat. We'll put him right there in the passenger spot. And when we get to the mission spot, after we check and finish any encounters, then we get to drop off the passenger, and then that's it. The mission's done. And then we need to finish the rest of the patrol. And then afterwards, we'll get some rewards for it, but the rewards are kind of scant, to be honest. It's a transport mission, so it's not the end of the world. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my assignment and my patrol, and I'm going to put here, Philippines. Oh, I can't spell that. Sorry. I'm just going to put P-H-I... I'm just gonna put what they put here. They put it P-H-I? No, P-H-L. P-P-N-E. There we go, Philippines. Sure. So I'm going to the Philippines, and I'll put a -T here just to remind myself I'm doing a mission. Oh my gosh, I'm in the wrong box. There we go. And that's it. I'm just going to leave this chart alone. Now I have another sheet here. This one's made by somebody on Board Game Geek. Their name and stuff is printed here. I'll do the zoom in that I did before so we can give credit where credit is due for whoever created the sheet. So shout out to, I think it's Damien Sprizingil. I don't know how to pronounce that, but shout out to them. You can check out on Board Game Geek to find the patrol sheet that they made. I think it's pretty brilliant because it allows me to kind of write down more stuff. So what I'm going to do on my patrol book here is I'm going to write down where I'm going, the date, because we are in, what do we say, April? April of 42. I'm going to say it's April 2nd, 1942. And the actual date is just flavor text. The month and the year, all that really matters, but the day is actually flavor text. I'm just having fun with it. Okay, so my Philippines-T, and then the travel box that I'm going to go to, because I have to be in the first travel box, is going to be in transit. So I'll write down transit. So what I've done is I've written down my year, kind of very chicken scratch like, my patrol, and then my the box that I'm in, which is transit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down my dice roll too. You don't have to write down your dice roll. I just like writing down my dice roll because it makes like a nice little record of how the dice have been messing with me the whole game. So I'm going to roll my 2d6s, and I rolled a 4. So I'm going to write down that I rolled a 4. And then I'm going to check my encounter table. Again, more charts. And my encounter table says that if I'm in the transit section, which is where I am, I'm in a transit box, if I rolled a 4, nothing happens. So therefore, I wrote down nothing happened, like so. And then we move on. So I move on to the next day, or next step. So it's going to be a transit again. And I'll say it's April 3rd now. And I'm still in the Philippines, still in transit. So I'm going to roll my 2d6s and see what I get. I rolled an 9. So I'm going to write down that I rolled a 9, and a 9 is nothing. Okay, now move on to the next one, which is our Philippine mission. Now for this one, because I have a mission of a transport mission, what's going to happen is I need to check for an encounter first. If there's an encounter, I need to finish the encounter first and not die. And then afterwards, I get to finish the mission, which is just the passenger is delivered to where they're trying to go. And then that's it. The mission's done. I still need to finish the rest of this, like go through the rest of this in order to make it out of here. But this will be the mission resolution. So we're rolling, and we rolled ourselves a 5. So with the 5, we're going to. With the 5, we are going to see, what does a 5 give us? We are in the Philippines. A 5 is going to give us nothing. If we had a radar, if we had an upgraded radar, which we don't have yet, I don't think. Let's see, do we have that yet? No, we get that in 3 months. Yeah, we'll get the updated radar in 3 months. So we don't have the updated radar yet. Uh-oh. Sorry, tablet's going crazy over there. And then once we get the updated radar, then we'll be able to roll again whenever we see the SJ there. But in this case, we don't have it, so we just put nothing happened. So this is Philippines. So nothing happened, and therefore we get to finish our mission. So we will write down, not write down, we'll just drop our passenger off. And our mission is done. So we're happy about that. Nothing happened. So now we're going to the next box, just a normal Philippine. And with the normal Philippine, we will have to roll. And let's see. Oh, get my dice tray. We rolled a 7. All right, so a 7, what does that give us? 7 for the Philippines is going to give us a ship plus escort. All right, we got our first encounter here. Our first actual factual encounter. So here with this one's going to give us a ship plus escort. So escorts are very dangerous. Escorts are basically the perfect ship to take out submarines. And they love attacking me. They love rolling dice and hitting me with things, so I would like to have them not hit me. Now the ship that they're transporting, because remember, my entire goal is to try to take out as many of the ships in commerce here as possible here in the Pacific. The ships are what I'm after, so I will get more reward for taking out the ships. I can also try to fight the escorts directly to make the ships by themselves, but the escorts are tough and they're not worth a lot of points. They're not worth a lot of value. So as a result of that, it's better for me to just focus on the ship and then get out of there. So knowing all that information, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and determine how big the ship is that is actually here. So we're going to go down to the bottom of our chart here, and we're going to determine the ship size. The escorts are always the same size. We know what size they are. They are 1,200 in tonnage, and they are little monsters that will always be the bane of my existence in this game. So clearly, I have lots of love for escorts, as you can hear. So we're going to roll a single d6, and on a 1 through 4 is going to be a small ship. On a 5 through 6 is going to be a large ship. So that's what we're going to roll for. And we rolled a small ship, so not the biggest ship, so sure. And now that we know it's a small ship, we got to go to our lookup table. It's going to be a lookup table over here. There's 2 lookup tables, one for small, one for large. It's going to have a lot of different things on it. 3 different charts. Well, 4 different charts if you count warships, but those are different. So we're going to roll a d6 to figure out which chart we're using. And we're going to do 1 and 2 is going to be A, 3 and 4 is going to be B, and 5 and 6 is going to be C. So we're going to roll our d6 to figure out which table we're going to look up. And this is going to be table C. Now each of these ships that are listed on this entire list here, on this entire manifest, these are all ships that were sunk during the entire conflict over the course of the many years. So these are actually ships that were actually sunk. But now that we know we're going to use chart C, we're going to roll some percentage dice. The game gives you 2 d10s to use. You just have to remember which one's the ones, which one's the tens place and which one's the ones place. I'm going to roll actual percentage dice that I have because I happen to have spare percentage dice lying around. And I rolled myself 22. So 22 for me means that I'm going to go against this ship. Here's the tonnage of the ship. And then here's the idea of the ship. The idea of the ship is, again, the flavor text of the game. The tonnage is really what matters because at the end of the game, if you make it through an entire career or even if you die, you want to see how much tonnage and ships you were able to sink. So the more tonnage, the better. So bigger ships are better targets in general. But in this case, I want to write down that information of 22 is going to be 4,500 here. In tonnage, and then P is a passenger ship. P is a passenger / cargo ship. And then we're going to go Manko, M-A-N-K-O. And there's an escorts. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm writing down on my sheets. I'm writing down the ships that I found here, and I'm getting ready to encounter them, as in we're getting ready to get into like some combat here. So hopefully things will work out for me. If I do end up sinking either of these ships or any of these ships, I'll circle it to show that I've circled the tonnage, show that I sunk that, and this is the tonnage that they're worth. The name of it is, again, mostly aesthetic. If I do face a ship, like let's say I sink it here now and I do face it again in the future, then, and I do roll it again in the future, I'll just re-roll that to say, oh, that ship's already sunk, so I'll roll something else instead. The escort will always be an escort. There are a billion escorts, there are a trillion more. If I take down one, it's going to be another one that shows up, so that's just there because it is technically tonnage that I can claim, and I do get rewards for sinking multiple ships in a single patrol. Okay, so now all that's done, we're going to move over into our combat. So as far as our combat's concerned, I got to get our combat table, which I thought I had. There it is. Here's our combat table. Things get a little bit chaotic, yes, I know, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We're just looking at sheets of paper. That's all you need to know. And I'll switch over to our other camera so we can look at our, there we go. So we can look at our charts here. And our chart, this is our battle chart, and we'll be spending a lot of time on this one now that we are here in the fighting side. So now we're here in the fighting side, we're gonna go ahead and fill out our chart. So we gotta choose our range. I'm gonna stay at medium. We gotta determine if it's day or night. We're gonna roll a d6 to determine if it's day or night. It is it's night. So 1 through 3 is day, 4 through 6 is night. So it's currently night. They do have an escort. So there's gonna be an escort there in that box. The enemy that we're facing, we already established, is a small passenger, and they're 4,500. So we're going to put them on target 1, 2, 3, or 4. We're going to put them on target 1, and they're a small passenger of 4,500. So they'll be on 2 damage to take out. So I need to deal 2 damage to kill them, and I'll mark that on my sheet with check marks as I get hits, if I get hits. For my submarine, because there's an escort, I must be, I can either be surfaced or I can be submerged. I must be submerged because there's an escort. And if it's nighttime and there's no escort, I can be surfaced and I can get better on my dice rolls. but it is not, and I am not. So therefore, no better for me. No better for me. All right, now that's done, we're gonna continue. So this chart will show you, excuse me, show you a lot of things for combat since you'll do it a lot. But I've already rolled for day or night. I've already determined the size of the ship. I've already, it is day, so I could, oh no, it's already night, so I can't do that. Number 3, so it's fine. Select range, I'm gonna choose medium range. That way I don't have to deal with the detection roll early. And then next is going to, I have to select if I'm submerged or surfaced. I'm submerged. I'm going to assign torpedoes to ship targets. So now I'm going to go back over to our sheet on this side. And you can see here I got my torpedoes loaded. I only got 1 target. I could try to take out the escort. You know what? I'll try to take out the escort. 1 second. Because I'm going to try to take out the escort is going to be 2 damage to take out because they are 1,200. So this is very risky. This is excessively risky. I just want to emphasize. This is really risky, but I'm going to try it. So this is going to be, I guess I can just put them in the box. There we go. I'll shoot at them. And going back to our little table over here, we're going to go ahead and shoot torpedoes. So I can shoot as many torpedoes as I want to. I can only shoot from the front. There are situations where I can shoot from the front and the back, but because I'm not doing a night surface attack, I'm shooting from the front. So I won't be able to move fast enough to like rotate and then shoot again. So I'm just going to shoot all 6 from all 6 of these tubes. So I'm going to shoot 4 at our key target and then 2 at the escort and hope that the escort gets hit too. And you'll know why this is a terrible idea, but we're doing a demo here. I just want to show us some action, show us some fun. Maybe I'll get lucky, I don't know. All right, going back over to our table here, now we need to roll. So the way this works is we're gonna look at our chart here on this side. You see here for S1, it's gonna tell us, based on our range, what we need to roll to actually hit. That's gonna be out of 2 D6s. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna assign dice. I'm gonna roll them 1 group at a time. I have a bunch of extra dice here to kind of help speed things up a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So these 4 are going to be for the small. And then I'll use a small one. No, I should use small one for the small one and big for the escort. Well, no, the escort's smaller than the small one. Never mind. It doesn't matter. And then I'm going to use these dice for the escort. Okay. All right, so now that we got that, those are my colors. I'm just going to assign those over there. I'll bring our camera back over to here, though. So I'm going to roll for the escort hit first. And I got a 5 and a 12. So there is an optional thing you can play with, which is called circular fire or circular run. I'm not playing with that. That's some nonsense. Essentially, it's an opportunity for the torpedo you shot to malfunction and come back around to you. And if you roll a 12 again, natural 12 again, then it hits you. And then if it's not a dud, then it takes your submarine out. So very dangerous stuff. You know, just kind of shot yourself with your defective submarine torpedo. At any rate, bringing our dice back on here though, this is all shooting at the escort. So I got a 5 and a 12. The 12 is nothing. 12 is a miss because I'm at medium range. But because I'm shooting at an escort, I think the escort gets a +1. Yeah, escort. Oh, +2. Okay, so escort gets a +2. So I'm glad I rolled what I rolled. So I got a 7. So I do hit them, which is good. And now I'm going to finish out my rolls here with the escorts. Now I'm going to roll to see if I got a dud or not. This is where the game kind of hangs its hat on frustration, if you will. So here, because we're in this time range here, for between December 1941 and what is that? July 1942, 1 through 4s are duds, as in they do nothing. 5s and 6 hits. So not only do I have to hit here, I also have to hit there. So I'm going to roll this die, and a 5 and 6 is going to be a hit. It's a 1, so it's a dud. So therefore, the torpedo pitters out, and it doesn't do anything. But I did shoot at the escort, so the escort's not going to like that. And that's going to come back to bite me in the butt here in a second. All right, those 2 torpedoes are wasted. Now we're going to move over to our next one. We're going to roll these 4. Oh, wait, this is some dice. We're going to roll these 4 sets of dice, and we're going to see if we hit small passenger. And remember, we need 7 or lower. So we got 1 hit, Just one hit. Wow. Jeez. All right. Well, it's not great. So just one hit there. And then we're gonna roll that to see if we get a dud or not. It's a dud. All right, so everything is just duds. So everything goes to waste, unfortunately. All right, now that's done, we're gonna move over to our next part of the phase, which is I did my attack, and now the escort is gonna attempt to detect me. Now, if I shot at the escort, they're gonna get some modifiers. So we're gonna go back over here. Here's the escort is gonna do detection. They need to roll an 8 or less on 2d6s. And then down here, if you see, if I attacked and missed the escort, they're gonna get a +1. Additionally, there's another modifier, which is if I shot MK14s, which are my torpedoes that I have during the day, they would get another +1, but they don't. So they only get +1. So whatever I roll, +1. There's also another one here that I'm not sure how to interpret this one yet. This one says capital ship, warship / escort. Like, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. So I've been ignoring that one. I just want to point it out though, for those who might know more about the game. I haven't checked the forums yet in the middle of my playthrough, so I'll check it eventually, just not right now. Just want to point that out, there might be another +1 that I'm missing, but we're gonna roll and just do a +1 here. So they rolled an 8. Okay, cool, perfect. So an 8 or less is undetected, so therefore they don't detect me, even though I shot at them. And yeah, that's it. So that means that we move over to our table over here. So we got no hits, so we're undetected. And we also got no targets damaged. So now we need to choose if we want to try to follow them or just let them go. If we follow them, then we need to roll a 1 through 4 to continue to follow. If we roll 5 or 6, then they get away from us. We lose track of them. So we're gonna try to follow. And we rolled a 4, so we do follow. And once we follow, we go back to step 1 up here. Oh, it says go back to step 1, really? Huh. So we're gonna determine day or night, really? Huh. All right, well, I misinterpreted that. Yeah, so I've always gone straight back to here. Yeah. I think, I don't know if that's supposed to be go back to step 1 or go back to the attack again. I've always kept the same time period, but it says go back to step 1, so we're gonna follow what it says. I don't know, it says go back to step 1 or go to step 1. We're gonna go to step 1. Step 1 clearly says roll d6 to determine day or night. Man. Okay, all right, I'm gonna roll a d6. And we rolled a 1, so it's currently daytime. Sun is shining bright. All right. And let me double check a thing in the rule. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. That didn't sound right. All right, we are here in combat. Sorry, I'm taking a pause to check a thing in the rules. I feel like I'm misinterpreting that. If following successful, roll to determine time of day. If day is rolled, the submarine captain can switch it to night. If the target ship is already damaged, no roll is necessary, the captain may choose night. If any ships have been damaged, mark it in your thing. If there is only one damaged ship to follow, roll that. When following more than one damaged ship on a roll, do this. When attempting to follow a ship or convoy, roll 1d6, 8+1 for radar. Successfully followed the ship or re-engage the convoy, and must roll to identify the 3 ships encountered as if a convoy were rolled on the encounter chart. The assumption here is that submarines approaching the convoy from a different perspective, presenting a fresh set of target ships. Interesting. On a 6, the convoy slips away and engagement ends. Advance the submarine marker 1 box. Note, if following a ship plus escort or 2 ships plus escort, you do not reroll for ID. Okay, that makes it better. All right. So that's only for convoys. All right, that makes more sense. Yep, okay, got it. All right, I was about to say, this is very, very weird. It makes the game so weird if that happens. But if it's a convoy and I'm following, then I can see different ships in the convoy because the convoy is more than just 3 ships. Got it. Okay, all right, continuing on. So we're basically skipping the identifying part. And we determined that the time of day changed, so I didn't play my demo correctly, or my playthrough correctly, but fine. We got it now. And then it says, if day, optional for us to roll a d6 to see if we want to switch it to night. I think I'm fine keeping it at night, keeping it at day. We're going to select our range, we're going to stay medium, and then we're going to try to shoot again. So going back over to our submarine. On our submarine, our torpedo tubes are going to auto reload. Like so. And then we're going to shoot all 6 again. We're going to do it again. Living life on the edge. Actually, no. We're gonna shoot all 6 at the same boat. We're not gonna shoot the escort this time because this is daytime. I don't want the escort to shoot at me and hurt me. All right, so I put the escort back up there. I'm not gonna target them anymore. We're shooting all 6 at the small passenger ship though because I want to take them out. I want to take them out. I need a win. So we're gonna roll 6 different sets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So we got our sets of dice here, small and large, and we're shooting all at the same boat. And we hit on 7s, and oh, I'm not seeing a lot of 7s here. 7s or lowers. So 3 hits. Yeah, I'll take 3 hits. So 1, 2, 3 hits. All right, so with 3 hits, we got 2, 3. Figure out which ones are duds. None are duds. Okay, all right. Well, this little ship is dead because the lowest that I can roll is a 1. We're still gonna roll it, but the lowest I can roll is a 1. 1 damage. I mean, for my torpedoes. And I got a lot of damage on that one. Man, I should have aimed for both of them. Darn it. All right. Anyway, in this case, this is going to be 1 damage. This is going to be 3 damage. And this is going to be 4 damage. So that's going to be 8 damage total. Man, I should have shot both of them. Hindsight's 20/20. But I shot 6 torpedoes for it, so I'm glad I got something for that. All right. Cool. So the submarine is, the ship is sunk. And I get to circle it here. Took me a ship out. And there it is on my sheet. Nice and circled to show I've taken it out. And now the escort is going to try to detect me. We are during the daytime and I did shoot MK14s. So therefore they will get a +1, a single +1. I did not shoot at them. That's why I didn't want to shoot at them because I didn't want the double +1. So, they got a 12 or more. There's no minuses here, so they got a 12. So they're gonna do, they detected me for sure, and they're gonna do a +1 attack DRM. They're very mad that I took out their person. So the attack they're gonna do over here, we're gonna roll 2 D6s. I'm gonna roll the black ones here. And they rolled a 6 +1, so 7. And then none of these other ones are applicable. None of these other modifiers are applicable, so they rolled a 7. A 7 is going to be 2 hits. Ooh, not 2 hits. That hurts. All right, so I'm going to take 2 hits here. Now, for me taking hits, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to the sub damage chart, and I'm going to roll this twice. We're going to roll this twice. This is going to be 2 sets of numbers. This is going to be treating my D6s instead of adding the numbers together as 2 different numbers. So one representing the first number, one representing the second number. I'm going to do black for the first number, pink for the second number. So I've rolled a 1 and a 5. So it's going to be dive planes. My dive planes took a hit. All right, so I get the damage marker over here and put it on my dive planes. All right, dive planes have been hit. And then my next one, 4 and 2. So my radio, man, shoot, my radio was hit. All right, so where's my radio? Damaged radio. That goes over here, right? Yeah. Now, I can make an attempt to repair those once the combat's over, and probably fail, but I can still make an attempt to repair those, just not right now. All right, now that's done, the detection roll is going to go again. So the escort is going to try to detect me again before I get an opportunity to try to run away. So they're going to try to detect me again. They do get a +1. I think they get a +1 because they got a hit on me already. Where is it? Escort attacked, scored a hit, -1. No, that's if I hit them. Previously detected. Here it is, +1. So they get that +1. I don't think they get the MK14 torpedoes during the day. So they still got a +1. I'm going to interpret it that way for the moment. All right, they rolled an 8, so I'm fine. I'm out of dodge. I'm out of dodge, and I'm sailing away. I'm not dealing with it. I'm not dealing with the nonsense. Scooting away from the nonsense. We can see here that my torpedo tubes are not maxed anymore. And I did take a hit, or 2 hits actually. But we're out of the combat. We're out of the combat zone, so I'm feeling a little bit better. So now we're out of the combat zone. We get to put all this away over here, and I want to flip this over because I want to see if I can try to do some healing. So in between the rounds here, before I move on to the next one, I'm going to try to do a repair. And essentially I need to roll a 5 or 6. That's right, I need to roll a... Oh, I've been reading that backwards. Huh. Okay, well, I need to roll whatever it says here. So for my radio, I need to roll a 1 through 2 to fix it. So I need to roll a 1 through 2. I'm going to attempt to fix the radio. And I rolled a 4, so instead of fixing it, I actually made it worse. So now it's inoperable. Okay, well, that's not great. So I can't, basically saying I can't attempt to repair it again until I go back to port. Once I get to port, they'll be able to repair it, assuming I'm not fully dead. Dive planes, I need a 1 through 2 to fix. Hey, I fixed it. Woo, good job. And I don't think I get anything special for that, but I fixed it. All right, so we fixed it. We fixed one of our 2 damages, which is good, because if we end up having 3 or more damage when we return to port, it's going to cost us an extra month before we can go back out, which actually is not a terrible thing, but you know what? I don't want to die. All right, so now we're done with that. We are going to move over to the next box. 1 second, I didn't write that down as a 6. Okay, moving on to the next box. Oop, was it 6? No, it's Philippines. It was a 7. Okay. This next box is a Philippines X2. The X2 basically means I need to do 2 checks instead of 1. So I'm going to do 2 checks here on the encounter chart. So we're going to do our first check. And we rolled a 7 again. All right, so we got another ship plus escort. Yep, Philippines ship plus escort is a 7. So ship plus export, we're going to figure out this ship. So we're going to figure out the ship, and then we're going to figure out the size, and then we're going to figure out the percentage. So the ship is a small, the chart is A, and the percentage is going to be 83. Okay, so it's going to be a small ship, 83, on chart A, 83. So small ship on chart A, 83. It's going to be a 2600 F Busho. And it has an escort. Okay. And we're getting back into combat. So let's do it again. So it's going to be basically the same thing we did last time. We are going to flip our chart over, or flip our camera over to the chart. And I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to stay at medium range. I'm going to shoot 4 torpedoes from the back. And then I'll just do 1 run. Actually, you know, might as well spend all the torpedoes. Why not? Now, there are opportunities. Oh, actually, sorry. I need to determine if it's day or night. Sorry. It is nighttime. I could. No, I can't. I cannot do a night surface attack if there's an escort. So I had to be submerged. If there was no escort, then I could do a night surface attack, which gives me increased chance of hitting them. But this is not the situation we're in, so we're not going to entertain it anymore. All right, let's continue. So we are going to be attacking at medium range. We're shooting 4 torpedoes. We're going to go ahead and do our roll here. 2, 3, and 4. And we hit on 7s. Oh, nothing hits. Oh no, we got 1. 1. Just 1. Ooh. All right. Tough crowd, tough crowd. All right, so just 1, that's the pinks here. So we need to roll our G6 to see if we actually get a hit on 5s and 6s. It's a dud, another flippin' dud. All right, so now the enemy's gonna try to detect me. It is nighttime, so they don't get any bonuses at all. I did not shoot at them. And they do not see, oh, yeah, they don't see me, that's 8. They don't see me, whew, close. All right, now we do it again. We're gonna roll up, I gotta follow. I didn't do any damage to him, so I gotta follow. So we're gonna roll the D6 to see if I follow. I need a 1 through 4. I follow, man, I rolled a 4 every single time I have to follow, haven't I? That's crazy. All right, so we get to do it again, go back to step 1. So let's figure out what time of day it is. So it is currently daytime. All right, I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna shoot at long range, because I would like, actually no, you know what? We're gonna stay at medium range. There's no need to shoot at long range. We're gonna stay at medium range, the same thing we've been doing this whole time. We're gonna shoot 4 torpedoes at the small ship. So 4 more torpedoes at the small ship. So there's our shots. Nothing, something again. All right, 2 somethings and 2 nothings. Okay. And then we're gonna roll this. We need 5s and 6s to hit. We got 1 hit, okay. And let's see how much damage we do with our hit. That was pink, sorry. Come on, something good. 4 is, 1 damage. Shucks, I need 2. I need 2 to take them out. All right, so they got 1 hit on them. That's not great. That means I have to do a whole nother round if I want to try to take them out. All right, now we get a detection roll. It is daytime. I did shoot my torpedoes, so +1. And they do definitely see me at a 10. So we're gonna roll to see what kind of damage they do. They don't get any bonuses here. And they do 4. 4 is 1 hit, so they get 1 hit on me. So we're gonna roll this. Black is first, yellow is second. So they're going to do a 6-2. 6-2 is aft torpedo doors. No, don't hit my aft torpedo doors. What does that do to me? You jerks. I only have aft torpedoes. All right, they damaged my aft torpedo doors. That's not good. That's not good. I'm pretty sure that's not good. Let's see what the back of this says about that not being good. So my forward or aft torpedo doors cannot fire torpedoes from specified compartment. All right, well, I'm running away. I can't shoot anymore. I got no more torpedoes. I only have, let me do that. I only have aft torpedoes left. All right, that's not good. I aft to run. Bad jokes. All right, so they're gonna try to detect again. They get a +1. They do not detect. That's a 7 + 1 is 8, so they don't detect me. So I'm gonna GTFO. We are getting out of there. Again, I'm interpreting this as the MK14 torpedoes were shot during the day. I'm assuming that's for the first volley, not the second volley. And also, I'm completely ignoring whatever this one says, which is a capital ship warship, or capital ship, warship / escort. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking this is saying that like if I have a capital ship with an escort or a warship with an escort, they get +1. I don't know. I'll let the internet tell me and correct me later. Okay. All right, so we did that. We're gonna move over to the second roll here because we're on an X2. So we did not get a kill there. And oh, no, actually before we do, we need to try to repair that aft door. If we can't get this repaired, then we're just gonna fly on home. So let's go ahead and roll 1d6. We need 1 through 2 to repair. It is very much not repaired. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and end the demo there. Actually, instead of end the demo, I'm gonna go ahead and just fast forward, say that I made it through all this without nothing happening, and then make it back home to show you refit. So now that I made it back home with no further things happening. Normally I'll have to walk through those and roll to see what happens and write on my list and do all the fun stuff. But because we're doing a demo here, I'm gonna go ahead and just call it at that. And now we're in the refit. So during the refit, what's gonna happen is, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some repairs. So I get to do repairs. I think if I have to do 3 or more repairs, well, sorry, first thing's gonna happen, let me go back to our sheets. I'll take a step back. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write down all the boats that I've encountered. So normally you'll be writing this down as you go, but because I'm using the second sheet, I'm gonna transfer it over to here. So I've encountered 2 ships, and we're assuming that this is all I encountered. So 4500 P Minco, and I'm gonna circle it because I sunk that one. And then I also encountered an escort. You don't have to write the escorts. I like writing the escorts though, especially when they showed up and what order they showed up in. 200F Pusho. I did not sink that one. And this one is an escort. Okay, so I'm writing down all that. Now the question is, did I have a successful mission? Now I will have a successful mission if I sunk at least 1 ship. So in this case, I did sink at least 1 ship, so therefore I do have a successful mission, successful patrol. And I also got a mission done, which I actually forgot about. So yeah, I did do a successful mission, this whole thing with the transport mission. So now that we did that, we're gonna go back over to our rule book and talk about our awards and stuff. Repairs first. So we get to repair those 2 things for free. If we had anybody damaged, then they will also get to be repaired. Definitely consult the rulebook to figure out what happens when certain things need to be repaired or healed, because there are timers for them. I think if I need 3 or more repairs, it's going to take me another month, but the refit's going to last the whole month here. So for the month of May, I get to put refit. So nothing's happening here. And then when I get back in the water, I'm going to be back in the water in June 1942. As you can see here, that's right before we get some better equipment coming out in, is that this one? Yeah, coming out in July, we get better equipment. And then in August, we get better torpedoes. So it might be beneficial to take some damage, but not too much. So you can have an extra month of refit. But, you know, doing more tours is not bad. It just means I have to deal with crappy dice rolls. All right. Now that's done, I'm going to refuel my ship by putting in my torpedoes, and then afterwards I'm going to see my awards. As far as my awards are going, like I said, consult the rulebook. There's a few different ones. You get a battle star for every patrol that you complete. You get yourself a Navy Commend Medal. Let me check. You get yourself a Navy Commend Medal if you finish a mission, any kind of mission, successfully. Yeah, Navy Commend Ribbon, and that's if you finish any mission. And then you also get a Submarine Combat Patrol for finishing any patrol, a patrol of any type. And that allows you to, these awards are not only just decorating your people for the purposes of like bragging rights and stuff, but also these awards can be used to give you some modifiers, some dice modifier rolls, when it comes to doing things like crew upgrades or giving yourself new things. I don't think any of them give you like a second roll for your torpedo rolls. I don't think it's anything like that. But these awards are important to start building up as you go, which is why it's beneficial to start off in the earlier years if you can, so you can have more time to go sink more ships. Speaking of sinking ships, if you do get yourself 3 ships in one run, in one patrol, you can get yourself a bronze star. If you can get yourself 4 ships sunk, you get a silver star. And if you get yourself 5 ships sunk in one patrol, you get yourself a Navy Cross, and you can even get a Medal of Honor. But that requires you to get to sink 7 ships in 3 or more patrols over the course of your runs, and like that's kind of wild. So if you can do that, then like you deserve those awards. And all of these give you some special bonuses. You have to check the rulebook to see what they do. I think they're all regarding crew upgrades, because you can also get named crew members who give you kind of some specialties, things like superior torpedoes, which allows you to get a +1 on your torpedo rolls, on your damage rolls, I mean, and then some other bonuses and benefits, things that I've read about but I haven't seen because I haven't made it that far into the game. Okay, all right. So that is basically the entire playthrough. After I'm done here, I would essentially go and roll on the table to see where I'm assigned, and then I'll go do a patrol on that row. And then once I'm done, I come back, assume I survive, and then get my awards, go back, fix everything up, and then go back and do it all again. And keep doing that over and over and over and over and over until you die, or until you make it to the end of the game. And then you can add up your entire tonnage of all the ships that you've sunk through the course of the entire game to see how you did. And you can also brag about your awards and stuff. And that's basically the entire game. All right, so that is it as far as the actual playthrough part. Let's go ahead and get into the review, talk about things that I liked, things that I didn't like, and then give my rating for the game overall. This is my second time doing this review, mostly because my previous time I did my review, disaster struck. I think I faced like 2 airstrikes, 2 airplane attacks, which I had never faced an airplane attack before, so I had to read the rulebook. It was the whole thing. And I also feel like my review is a little bit more rambling than I want to be. So let me try to streamline all that by saying that as far as things that I like, I love the generative nature of the game. I'm finding out that I'm a fan of generative games to a point, and I'll explain the to a point part. But the generative nature of the game is very fun, whereas you're kind of sailing through the seas, or sneaking through the seas, I should say. And then as you're going, you're finding a various number of ships. You find escorts that you can attack. You find convoys that give you variety ships. As I did not play correctly during my playthrough, but I definitely read about correctly here during our demo here for the review. But you basically see a certain number of ships, and then if you don't attack anybody, don't kill anybody, or damage anybody, and then you follow again, you get a different array of ships. And that's really cool because you can cycle through a few different ships. Maybe you want some bigger ships, so you can choose to just kind of delay it and then go back and try to get another roll of ships. There's also the risk of just dying immediately. I had one game, and this is actually in my my previous playthrough that is not going to go live because I felt like it was a little messy. I did die. It was something that killed me, but I encountered a warship that happens to be a submarine. And the rulebook, I didn't know this beforehand. It makes sense, but the rulebook basically said, oh, if you're facing a submarine and you shoot at them first, and if you miss and they shoot at you and they hit you once, then you just die immediately. And I was like, that's rude. But on the flip side, if I hit them with my shot, then they die immediately. So therefore, it's kind of like a 50-50 unless your dice aren't dicing, and my dice did not dice, and their dice diced, and therefore I died. So my previous playthrough, it kind of ended with me dying, and I thought it was a good ending point because I was like, this is my last tour anyway. I'm gonna do my last patrol here, my 3rd patrol, and then I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. And then I just died before I made it back to port, which is very apropos. I guess it's a proper usage of it. But I love the generative nature of it though, because you're kind of generating different stories as you go. You're having different dice rolls that are telling you if you're hitting or not. It does get a little frustrating, but it does also have the kind of casino feel where you're just like, okay, maybe if I just shoot one more volley, maybe if I just take one more risk, then I'll be able to actually like take out the stuff, take out the things. And that was kind of where I was with kind of playing it. So it really helped me feel like kind of at home. I don't want to say at home, but it made me feel okay with the randomness, the swinginess of it. And also I have to keep in mind that I was playing the earlier parts of the game. The earlier parts of the game do absolutely suck because having to hit first on your range attack and then having to hit again and then having to roll to see how much damage you do, like that's a sequence of dice rolls that you need to do in a row that need to be successful before you can actually get the kill that you're looking for. And that can be super frustrating when you get four torpedoes that are hitting, but then you run your duds and you get all duds. That can be frustrating. However, it's also telling a story of the game. Because again, the game does lean into the history of it all, where earlier on, the torpedoes were not very reliable, they were still working on trying to fix it, and they do eventually fix it, and then they fix it again, and then they fix it again towards the end of the game, and your torpedoes are better, your enemy is able to detect you easier, you're seeing less ships in the water, and things are getting a lot more advanced and a lot more reliable. So you end up running through kind of the whole gamut of like, man, things really suck, but I also am, lucky that their things suck too. And then you get to the point where it's like, okay, if I see you, you'll die. But if you see me, I'll die. And like, that's really cool, like storytelling. Because again, it's taking the history, it's taking everything that was actually true of the war based on what they're saying here in the rulebook and the history they provide in the rulebook. And it's basically saying, here's how the mechanisms are helping tell the story of what's going on and helping you tell your story of how your submarine goes. And even the rule that I mentioned before about the circular run. I didn't play with it here in my demo, but the circular run is basically you shoot a torpedo and then it malfunctions, but it malfunctions in the way that it actually circles back. And if you don't notice in time, it can actually hit your sub and just take it out. And you can play with that rule, but the way it manifests in the game is you roll for your attacks like normal. If you roll boxcars or if you roll 12, so 2 6s on your roll, then that's considered a circular run. Then you roll again, that one specifically, or those 12 specifically, and if you roll a 12 again, then that's going to hit you, and then you roll again to see if it's a dud. If it's not a dud, then it hits you and you die. So basically, it's a 3-step process before you die. But I think it's really cool because, according to the rulebook, I didn't know this, but according to the rulebook, people dying by circular runs was a thing that was suspected for a few submarines that were sunk here on the U.S. side, and one for sure that they knew about, that a torpedo was fired and then it circled back and then it took out its own submarine. So like those things are again part of the storytelling, part of the generative storytelling is happening here, and part of the uncertainty of am I going to make it out of this alive? War is very give and take, and a lot of times you're the one with your life getting taken. When you play these kind of games, and this is letting you know that hey, war is a very scary thing. Well, I guess depending on who you are. For me, myself, I see war as a very terrifying thing. So having the stakes be, if I don't take you out, I will probably die, makes it to where every choice matters. So it's like, should I shoot 4 torpedoes and just try to preserve torpedoes, or do I just shoot everything that I got because I want to make sure I take them out? And it definitely pushes you to make those decisions. Again, part of the storytelling. I could shoot 2 torpedoes every go so I can kind of preserve my things, but every single time there's going to be another detection check. So if I just shoot all 6 right now, maybe they'll die, and then if they die, then I'm happy and then I can go away. Or maybe they'll all miss, or maybe a circular run will happen. I don't know. But it just kind of adds into the storytelling. So again, the biggest pro for this game for me is the storytelling that happens. And I think the mechanically it's fine. I think it's reasonable. I wouldn't put it in negatives, but I'll say that the mechanics are, it's a reasonable loop. As long as it keeps telling a cool story and keep having cool things happen, I'm all for it. I will say one last thing before I move on to the negatives, is that I had a playthrough. It's my first playthrough off recording, of course. And in this playthrough, I had a mission, and I was going through, and I ended up in a situation to where I couldn't get any kills. So we're literally on the next to last transit box, and what happens is I run into a random event for the first time. And that random event happens to be a ship event. So on the random event, you have to roll your dice. If you roll a 12, it ends up being a random event. When you're in transit for the first time, the first time you roll a 12 in that game, then it becomes a random event. And that random event happened to be, because you have to roll again on that random event table. That random event happened to be like this big ship that got sunk by me because of things in the game. And I ended up getting a ship sunk anyway, and it wasn't just a ship sunk, it was a giant ship that was sunk, and that was really cool. So I ended up saving my entire run, saving my entire patrol, and made it successful just because of that one random thing that happened. Now granted, this is a dice game. There's random things that happen. You can't guarantee it's going to happen every time you get, kind of down on your luck here with your rolls. But in that case, it told a really cool story because I went through my entire patrol, couldn't find anything, couldn't actually get any of my torpedoes to hit before everybody ran away. And then at the very last moment, there was like that key capital ship, and I took him out. And then I was able to brag about it, and I got some awards and everything. It was all cool in the long run, right? So again, it's part of the storytelling. I just love that generative storytelling aspect of this game. Now, as far as the negatives, I do have quite a few negatives. I will boil them down to just 2 things. One is generative storytelling, which is ironic because I just got done talking about how much I love the generative storytelling. It is frustrating because, I understand you're telling a story, but sometimes it's like, why can't my dice just hit? Like I have to hit 3 times in a row to actually do the thing. So the general storytelling of it all, like I understand that that's a justification for the randomness that's happening, but I get frustrated by the randomness that's happening. So I'm blaming the general storytelling, but in reality, I'm saying that the dice sometimes don't dice. This is a dice game through and through. There's random, there's chaos, there's a lot of uncertainty with what's happening. And again, those things add to the stakes, and it makes you decide if you're gonna roll just one torpedo or if you're gonna send 5 torpedoes. So it does make you make those decisions that you really gotta think about, especially trying to preserve your torpedoes, or if you're trying to spend it all before you go, because you don't know if you're gonna see another set of ships before you get to your get back home. So as a result of that, I do count it as a negative, because I think that the chaos sometimes out-chaoses itself, if that makes sense. So I'm calling it a negative. Again, I blame the generous storytelling, but in reality, I'm blaming the dice, blaming the amount of chaos that's available in the game, and it's kind of built in. So on the one hand, I'm still counting as a negative, but on the other hand, I understand if you hear me say that, you say, "Oh, CulBlu, you just want to win." Yeah, I just want to win, but also sometimes the dice just suck. Like it's like, hey, I got 4 hits. And then I got I got 4 hits, and then I got all duds. Come on. Like, what are the chances that's going to happen? And statistically, the chances that are going to happen are going to be pretty, potentially frequent. But that's not the point. The point I'm trying to bring up is that I want to complain about it because it happened to me a few times where I got 4 hits, and then all of them were duds, and it felt very bad. So therefore, it's a negative. Take that. The next negative, again, I said I was going to summarize my negatives in just a few things. My next negative is that I feel like there's other games that do what this game is doing better. I think in my previous time I attempted to review this, I compared it to Golden Age of Piracy. And the more I thought about it, the more I felt that the Golden Age of Piracy just has more to do. In this game, it's just you go on your patrol, you take out some submarines, and take out some ships, and then run away from some escorts, and that's pretty much the entire game. Maybe get an award if you were able to get lucky with your dice rolls and what showed up. Maybe don't get a reward. Maybe get a failure. Maybe get a reprimand. Maybe get a whole new submarine. I don't know. And it really boils down to there's just not a ton to do once you kind of interact with the main loop like 2 or 3 times. Then you say, okay, this is kind of it. You can even see in if you go back and watch my, for this video, if you go back and watch my playthrough demo, towards the end, it got to the point where I basically remembered everything I needed to do. So I was like, okay, so I need to do the escort check, and after escort check, I need to do the day-night roll. After day-night roll, I need to go ahead and see how many torpedoes I want to shoot. I want to shoot this many, so I'm rolling those, and I'm going straight to this. So it ends up being very procedural, to the point where it's like, okay, this is kind of it until I finish the combat. And then once I finish the combat, potential for something random to happen, but it's really just a random event off to the side. So I feel that for the nature of the game, the theme of the game, this works because you're literally being told to go do a patrol. So it's not like I have a choice of like, oh, I want to go explore the Galapagos Islands, or I want to go over here and see what's over there in the Atlantic Ocean. No, they're saying, hey, son, you signed up for the military. Go to go to the Philippines and do the patrol, and then come back. That's it. So that's the entire game. So it fits thematically. But I think for the general storytelling side of things, I'm going to stick with Golden Age of Piracy overall. And that's definitely going to affect the rating too. But I just think there's just more to do in the Golden Age of Piracy, which does similar things that this game is doing as far as like kind of the dice and the boats. And I guess that's where the similarity stops, is the fact that you're in water and you're rolling dice and it's generative. But there's just more to do in something like the Golden Age of Piracy. And I can imagine, because this game is also based on the Hunters, which I never played, I can imagine that maybe the Hunters had the same problem, with air quotes, of just kind of being like maybe like a instead of a 1-trick pony, being like a 4-trick pony. But again, I enjoyed the experience I was here offered, so it's a negative. But I don't want to rag on it too hard. I don't want people to feel like I'm just saying this game is garbage. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this game is great, but I feel like some other games do what this game is doing a lot better, with a lot more options, a lot more variety to shake it up. Okay, so as far as those things go, those are my negatives. I'm going to go ahead and jump into my rating on the side of things. My rating side of things, so I think I gave Golden Age of Piracy a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think I can give this game anything higher than that. So I think this game is capped out at that. So let me check. Because maybe I gave Golden Age of Piracy an 8. Okay, I think I gave Golden Age of Piracy an 8 out of 10. So as a result, I'm comparing this game to Golden Age of Piracy because, like I said, they do similar things in the fact that they're both generative storytelling, and you roll dice, and you also happen to be in water in both of them. Everything else is very different from the two games for sure, especially how combat works. So I'm gonna give this game a solid 7 out of 10 instead of because I think I gave Golden Age Piracy an 8 out of 10. So 7 out of 10 is what I'm gonna give this game. I think it's a solid game, especially if you just kind of want your military stuff going here. There's a lot of really cool historical facts that I did not know about. The things about like submarine warfare, how it was very crummy in the beginning, but it became a lot more efficient, a lot better at the end. And then also additionally how risky and how like dangerous all of it was for both the soldiers that were from the US side and also from the people on the other side, for people who were running the escorts, how dangerous it was for them to possibly be a target and taken out for the purposes of getting the body count up. And also just for all the passenger ship, all the freight ships, all the trade ships, all the warships that were all taken out in the course of war. I mean, again, I say it again, war is a very not so very great thing. So anybody who wants to revel in war is like, that's a little weird, but okay, you do you, bro. Way over there, far from society and me. But going back to this, I think this game is a reasonable game, but 7 out of 10 is what I'm going to ultimately land on because I feel like there's other games that do what it's doing better, and by better I mean it just has more things to do. It is interesting to learn the game and figure out when you should do something and when you shouldn't do something. I don't think I've quite figured that out yet. I'm pretty sure I haven't quite figured that out yet. But I've played enough of the game to understand that in the beginning of the game, you just gotta send it. Just full send. Every torpedo you have, just send them out. Now that's not the best advice always, but when you get an encounter with 3 ships, just try to do your best to prioritize. It is better to try to focus hardcore on one ship. At least I found from my approaches so far. It's better to focus on just one ship instead of trying to take every ship out at the same time because those dice are not reliable. So you got to take statistics into your own hand and shoot as many torpedoes as you can. Also, you got to be very careful not to run out of torpedoes because that means you can't do anything else in any other encounter. So do you risk it now? Do you not risk it now? I don't know. Oh, also, I mentioned the casino aspect. I want to talk about that for a second. In all this, there was, I think in my playthrough, there were times where I was like, okay, do I spend all my torpedoes now, kind of early, or do I just hold on to them? And it felt really good to kind of have that casino aspect of me not spending any money and just kind of saying, okay, but like, okay, what if I just shot 2 more torpedoes? You know what? What if I just shot 4 more torpedoes? And just kind of kept building onto that. And it definitely felt, I felt terrible, especially when everything missed. But, go big or go home, right? Worst case scenario, I get shot down in the water and have to start over. So it felt really good to be able to have access to that and have a little bit of excitement. Again, the choice is being very dire of like, if I don't take them out now, then they might take me out on the next go. So I can try to stick around to take them out, but I'm risking getting taken out myself. So like that dilemma, I think is a really good dilemma overall. So this game has it. This game works well with it, and it's also a relatively small footprint game. I don't want to say it's a tiny footprint game, but it's a relatively small footprint game. I would say you can probably get away with like maybe 4 sheets of paper worth of stuff if you stack your stuff up properly. And you can even just throw it all on a clipboard. Like I have a clipboard here. I could actually fit the entire game in this clipboard if I really wanted to, and then play it from here. I mean, not play it in the clipboard, but I mean, I suppose you could do that if you really wanted to. So I think it's a good game. I think it's great. Again, 7 out of 10 may not sound super high, but it is, all things considered, high enough. Again, if I didn't have something like Golden Age of Piracy, knowing that I'm a fan of that game, I think this game could jump up to like a 7.5, as high as that. But I think comparatively, like in my brain, I just can't stop comparing it to Golden Age of Piracy, which is not the same game, but it does a lot more. So, edge goes to Golden Age of Piracy, but this game is also pretty fun too. There's also a sorry, just threw my mic across the room, my bad. There's also a 2-player mode. Sorry, 1 second. I was trying to point and say there's also a 2-player mode, and then my hand caught my mic wire. There's also a 2-player mode in this too, and you can also do like a tournament mode. I don't know what any of that is about, but it's in the rulebook, and they have a lot of variants in the back of the rulebook, so I appreciate them for including all those things. And yeah, that's neat. That's cool. So thumbs up to GMT for including all those cool things. All right, so it's going to be the conclusion of my entire interview here, now that I've tossed my mic across the room. Yeah, let me know what you all think of the game. Let me know what you all think of the review and everything. I will definitely be playing this a few more times. I do need to get back on the Golden Age of Piracy bandwagon so I can finish that series for videos for y'all. But you may see another playthrough of this in the future. No promises, but you might, because I really want to see if I can get the big award and get like the Medal of Honor, which is sinking 7 ships and 1 patrol 3 times, sinking 7 ships in a single patrol 3 times. So that's 3 different patrols. And like I really want to see if I can fight for that. That sounds really hard to do, but I feel like if I just time it right and then just go risky, I might be able to get it. I don't know. Part of me wants to like achieve it and say, yeah, I did it, and have it recorded. But also, I don't know. I don't know if I'm lucky enough for that. My dice rolls have not been dicing, so maybe not. Okay, things to look forward to. So thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you all whenever.